Get ready to take your body to the elite level of performance. Call today to set up your free evaluation. 765-499-1005. Elite Performance, where the dream of elite fitness becomes a reality.
Good evening, baseball fans. Good evening, everybody. Hope you like my vacation gear. We'll get into why I'm in vacation gear in just a little bit. It's Friday night. It is game one of the World Series currently taking place right now. Currently in the middle of the second with the Texas Rangers leading 2-0. We've got a little bit to talk about here. World Series, a little bit of predictions, a little bit of recap of how we got here. Got some guests lined up. We've got one sitting here now, friend of the show, Mac Haas, everybody.
Hello.
Mac messaged me. Well, we were talking. We were at Game 6 of the NLCS and left quite disappointed. And hopes were low. Hopes were low, or mid. I should say hopes were mid. And then after Game 7, we blew up a little bit.
Just a little bit.
So, no secret that, again, we're Philly fans. The Arizona DiamondBacks did win the National League Championship Series in 7 against the Phillies, and they won 2 in Philadelphia. Phillies went up early 2-0, traveled to Arizona, dropped games 3 and 4, managed to win Game 5. And then proceeded to lose Game 6 and 7 in Philadelphia. Mac, what are your initial thoughts of the Diamondbacks just doing what they did?
First of all, they deserve a lot of credit for coming up with a game plan that was going to counter the Phillies' offense. And watching the Phillies all season this year, I knew how high-powered their offense was. You have to apologize. My cat is trying to get into the shot. But
good. I got 3 down by my feet.
But they had a game plan coming into Game 6 and 7, and the Diamondbacks executed it. And when it comes down to it, the Phillies did not counter, and I think that's what lost them the series at home. As much as I hate to admit it, and I love my team to death. I still love these Phillies, even though they disappointed us, but I think a little bit of complacency may have set in for them. So all I can hope is that these guys learn from it, the coaches learn from it, the players learn from it, the front office learns from it, and we can take some of these lessons learned into next season.
And let's not bring back Craig Kimbrell. For those who didn't watch, Philadelphia actually had the lead in games 3 and 4, and Mr. 400 save Craig Kimbrell could not get the job done. Now there were other factors in play as well, and Game 4, hello Kitty.
Yes.
And in Game 4, questionable management by Philly Rob, but I think you hit the nail on the head. It's disappointment. There's anger and there's disappointment, and I think to encompass the whole feeling, it's just a general letdown.
Absolutely. And not to necessarily take anything away from Topper, for the last 2 seasons, his game plans have worked. The Phillies made it to the World Series last year, and then made it to the NLCS Game 7 this year from what seemed like a very consistent game plan. I think from year to year, Topper really changes how he manages in the postseason, because you kind of have to. The marathon turns into a sprint. But this time it just didn't work. They were outcoached by the Diamondbacks.
And the Diamondbacks too, actually adapting their lineup to what Philadelphia was going to put out on the mound too. And you see it here. It's not like Arizona, is a bad team. I mean, they go out and they swept Milwaukee, they swept the Dodgers, and then they obviously came in a little bit flat for games 1 and 2 because you're dealing with that Philadelphia crowd. But I don't even know if you could say that anymore based on how games 6 and 7 went. So I don't think that's a factor going into any kind of future scenario if Philly gets back into it next year. But Arizona just doing what they need to do, I guess. And I hate seeing that A right next to that T. I just hate it. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, should have been us, but that's the way it goes. Baseball's weird.
Baseball is weird. And how about being weird too for the American League Championship Series? Home team never won. Houston goes up. I'm sorry, the Rangers go up again. Thank God I can stop differentiating between Houston and Tech. The Rangers go up 2-0 in a similar scenario, go up 2-0 going into Houston. And then, no, I'm sorry, I got it backwards. Right? How did that go?
No. So, yeah, the Rangers won the first 2 games in Houston. The Astros won the 3 games in Arlington.
That's right.
And then, yes.
Yeah, and there was drama in games 6 and 7. Well, more so in game 6 for the Texas, just call it the Texas series. With Abreu hitting, who was it? Garcia. Garcia early on in game 6 absolutely crushed a home run, and there's no other way to say it. I think I showed you the replay of it, Mac, but he absolutely pimped it. I'll have to see if I can find the video here, but little retaliation after that later in the game. And I think that kind of fueled the Rangers into game 7 because game 7 wasn't even close in the American League.
Nope. The Rangers definitely put up a crooked number in game 7. A lot of credit to them. They seem to have a pretty high powered offense here in this postseason.
Yeah. And,
reminds me a lot of the Phillies.
I was going to say It should. And I mean, even too, I was just going through the lineup here to see what they've got rolling out. I mean, even like just some of the averages, like, Simeon for Texas is only, hitting 189, whatever. But then Seager, you've got hitting over 300. Carter, you've gotten hitting over 300. Garcia, you've almost got at 350. Garver's almost hitting 300 at 286. And then, 2 guys hovering around the 250 line. And then the third baseman, Jung, however you want to pronounce it, hitting 283, and then Tavares hitting 252. But then on Arizona's side, you've got Carroll and Marte being the 2 big bats there. Carroll at 289, Marte hitting 350. And then it just goes off a cliff. Reno hitting 273, Walker not hitting 200, Pham hitting right around 200, Gurriel under 250. Alec Thomas, whose name will be burned in the memory of all Philadelphia fans. And Matt, why don't you say something? I would have gave you the intro.
No.
You got no audio, buddy.
That's because I had my microphone muted.
You just wanted to hear me blabble on. I'm currently in a rant of how Arizona's offense, comparing to the Rangers, is butt.
Yeah. Sorry, I was turning my fan. I'm sitting here like sweating my nuts off.
Me too. Like my vacation outfit?
Yeah. You like my fucking going, I'm ready for bed outfit?
Listen, I'm still showing love. I got my Phillies hat on.
Yeah. So
the only love I'm showing is the love my pillow is going to get when the World Series is on every time it's on, because I'm not going to watch one single ounce of the games.
Yeah,
not because the matchup isn't intriguing. I don't want people to think like I'm not watching it because Philly's on it. I'm not staying up to watch 2 teams that I don't have a say in who wins play.
No.
So,
And it doesn't help they're all at 8 o'clock too.
Yeah, and 5 o'clock comes super early, especially for me.
Yeah, the government work's gotta when the government work calls. So Matt, what were your initial feelings on the championship series? Both going to 7.
I mean, I thought both series were good. And I know, okay, I didn't want to cut you off there, but like, I'll even, since Mac is here, and I'll even say it. So back at the trade deadline, I sat here and I looked at everybody, and I even told Tim, and I've been texting it since then. Arizona was the team I did not want to play in the playoffs. I said once they got Tommy Pham, I had a feeling that was going to be a very, very tough team to play. They proved me right. So I thought the series, both series were great. I know like everybody was disappointed that Philadelphia lost. Yeah, I'm disappointed to see them lost too, but it was to a team that I didn't want them to play in the playoffs. I mean, I'm going to root for Arizona just because I'm going to ride that train like I have since the trade deadline. But I feel like if it was a Phillies-Dodgers NLCS, we had a better chance of advancing. I really thought I didn't think Texas was going to get past Houston. It's just ironic that every game that was won was on the road. So
yeah, we were saying that too. I was about to say, what was the more interesting matchup between the game sevens? The fact that the American League no home team won, or the fact that Philadelphia just choked it?
I wouldn't say they choked it, dude. Like I'm going to be real for a minute here, so bear with me. Philadelphia did not choke that series away. They choked
you
away.
And Matt can be the real ones. I'm going to be the ranter. So
okay. So the only 2 games that Philadelphia choked away were Game 3 and Game 4. Let's be honest. They should have won both those games. The bullpen failed them. It is what it is.
No, one guy failed them.
It doesn't matter. I'm being real here. Like the bullpen failed them. It's period. Like once the bullpen came in, it should have shut everybody out, and they didn't. So it happens. They didn't choke the series away, though. Arizona is just that good and is that underrated. The surprise of the 2 is the fact that no home team won in the ALCS. They talk about how tough Houston is to play in, period. I mean, you hear about it all the time. Minute Maid Park is such a great ballpark, and they do such a great job there, and they couldn't win at home. Then you have Texas, who has, like, they haven't been relevant as a playoff team for so many years, and all of a sudden now, like, they can't win at home. And it was one of these things I'm just like, how's that even possible? So the whole Philadelphia choking in the NLCS, they didn't choke. They choked away 2 games, and that was it. They should have swept them in 4 games, but it's hard to sweep in a best of 7 anymore.
Mac, you want to add anything onto that? Be the realist here, because I will not be.
If I think I'd said this to my dad the day after the game. If you would have told me 3 years ago that the Phillies would have a World Series appearance and then the next year go to the NLCS, I would have said you're nuts. So, like, the Phillies ran into a good team that out-coached them and had a better game plan. Winning is hard. Winning consistently is even harder. You rarely see teams go back-to-back, things like that. It's very difficult, especially when you have some success. You're going to have to target on your back. So
I think there's one individual person to blame, and that is Mr. 400 save, Mr. Future Hall of Famer.
No, hold on. I know where you're going with this. For 2 games in the playoff, I know he was pretty much asked for the most of the postseason because he just wasn't his regular season himself. But
he's never himself in the postseason.
You can't put all the blame on Kimbrel though, because there is no reason, bases loaded, no outs, you score 0 runs and back-to-back games. You had guys on base in Game 6 and Game 7, and you couldn't score a run. The guys you should be mad about is I'm a big proponent of Johan Rojas in the outfield. I love him in the outfield. Dude batted worse batting average than Kyle Schwarber. Where was Castellanos? 0 for whatever with 13 strikeouts. Like, those are the guys you should. Yeah, those are the guys you should be mad at. I get it. Kimbrel blowing the 2 games upset a lot of Philly fans. It annoyed me too, but It was more than just him. If they would have actually put bat on ball like they should have and scored runs, Kimbrel would have never even had to come into the games ever. This is the thing that
even
killed
when
me.
they
Is everybody
brought
talks.
Kimbrel into the game with a lead, he still blew it.
Yeah, but okay, that's fine. But you're still not putting bat to ball and scoring runs. This was a team that went into that series with hot bats, hitting all these home runs, and it took Alec Boehm to Game 7 to be relevant. Great in the field. Great third base play in the postseason. Why is it taking him to Game 7 of the NLCS to even be relevant at bat? Like, they were swinging at such garbage. That's the guys you should be mad at. I get being mad at Kimbrel, and I'm all for being mad at Kimbrel because of how he pitched in the postseason. It is what it is. But you're not put in that situation unless you're putting bat to ball and runs are scoring. And you're not scoring runs against Arizona. I hate to say it, they would have made the World Series. They were going to get spanked in the World Series.
Yeah, that's Mac and I were talking about that too after Game 6. And Mac, how many times in that Game 6 did I look at you and say, I guarantee you Trey Turner is going to swing at the first pitch.
Oh yeah, like every single one of his at bats. And then sure enough, what did he do?
He struck out and grounded out and flew out the left.
I think that is a great example of the Diamondbacks having a better game plan. Because they knew he was going to swing at garbage, so let's throw a breaking pitch out of the zone. And yeah, it was all of them. Yeah. So the Phillies are a very aggressive team offensively, and they have been all season. And that was one of the things that the Diamondbacks that I noticed that the Diamondbacks took advantage of is like, we're just going to throw these guys garbage. And fortunately for the Diamondbacks, unfortunately for the Phillies, when there were things hung over the plate, they were just missing them. And Harper almost hit a 3-run home run in Game 7.
Right. Now here's my other thing too. And I'm not like I'm sounding like Ricky Metallico, and I'm mad at myself for this. Okay. And if anybody who's ever watching their post game stuff knows, this is exactly how this is how Ricky Bo sounds.
And for the non-Philadelphia fans, Ricky Bo, former Phillies player, current analyst for CSN Philly and post game guy who is notorious for just being negative.
Or telling it how it is, and here's the other thing is that I'm going to put it how it is why did we not change the batting lineup at all? I got it; it worked at one point, but it stopped working. You're putting nobody behind Harper. They're not going to pitch at him. They're going to make him chase, and he chased a lot.
That's exactly what happened.
I can't remember if I told you, Matt, or you, Mac, about just flipping Boehm and Realmuto and then flipping Stott and Marsh. Basically, that you could have kept. I understand why he has the lineup the way he had it with the lefty-righty, because you didn't want to get hurt with, lefties all in the same inning. But Brandon Marsh had a good series, and JT had a good series. Not JT behind the plate because they gave up 10 stolen bases, all those coming in like Game 6 and 7. But yeah, I get the offense is to blame, but I cannot forgive a pitcher whose sole job, who has done it 400 times to get outs, and he couldn't do it.
But even after that, though, they had opportunities to win those games, and they did not come through. Period. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, again, I get it being mad at Kimbrel. I get it. They're probably not going to bring him back, and it's whatever.
Not. He can go steal somebody else's money this offseason.
And that's fine. That's fine. But even in those situations, though, like Hoffman struggled in one of the games when he came in, put guys on base. Kirkering went in like as a rookie, and they pitched him in back-to-back games, and he gave up runs to make it even closer. Like, it's not just Kimbrel, though. Like, it was those 2 games alone, the bullpen just did not come through. And then, like I said, you go to this, like even Game 7, you had bases loaded and 0 outs. You're up, you were up 2-1, and you even said it, Tim, like, if we don't score any runs here, we're going to lose. And they did. Like, that's the thing. Like, the way the playoffs work nowadays, the way the playoffs work nowadays, and for those that are watching and are probably like, why is this so frustrating? So it's because, like, I have the World Series on over here on my TV right now. It is 3-2. It's 3-2 in the top of the third. Arizona and Texas are 3-2 with two outstanding pitchers on the mound.
Well,
'Cause
Zach Allen's been terrible for the last 3 starts now.
Yeah, but Eovaldi is not pitching very well in this game either. But they're still two good pitchers though. I'm just saying, like I feel like they're two really good pitchers. Like they're putting bats to balls and they're scoring runs. That's all Philly had to do. Is score runs. You had Wheeler and Nola, Game 6 and Game 7, and you can't score runs to get them wins like you have every other time in the playoffs that they were on the mound.
Yeah, Mac, how bad was it? And during our game we went to, when you heard the first note of "Welcome to the Jungle" and the lights go out, how many people around us just erupted into
that
booze?
That was the kind of the craziest. One of the crazier things I've seen attending a game in Philadelphia. I've been there when it's been hype and people have been excited, and it's a lot of booze. There was a lot of booze when he came out. Surprisingly, he actually pitched fine that inning, but the Phillies were already losing at that point.
Yeah. And I know. Yeah, it was just one of those things too. Like you heard it, and then just a collective groan.
Yeah,
because I think everybody at that point too is just fed up with them. But I understand too. The offense died. There's no other way.
Yeah.
They died.
I was going to say the same thing happened in the World Series in 2022. All of a sudden, the offense just died.
Well, which game were you at, Matt? I can't remember. You were at one of them.
The first home game.
I was also at that one.
Yeah, so it's the Homer Fest.
Yeah.
And then they got no hit the next day.
Right. So you said about JT behind the plate, and my dad and I were talking about this, and I think this was part of the problem. So JT played behind the plate this year 133 games and had 0 games off in the playoffs, which is fine. I think he was tired by the time it was over. Probably. If you want me to be honest with you. Because when's the last time you ever saw JT miss throwing guys out at second?
And like even blocking balls, too. He gave up a few pass balls.
I'm pretty sure JT was just tired at that point. I can't blame him. I mean, I feel like they had a better chance if they put like Stubbs in one of the games just to give JT a break, get him refocused. Or at least
half a game.
Yeah, or even half a game. Let JT come in and pinch hit, DH, whatever. Like, let him get the at bats, but don't put him behind the plate the entire time. Like, put him with Sanchez when Sanchez was pitching. Why didn't Stubbs catch that game? That would have been a perfect opportunity to put Stubbs in behind the plate. You had nothing to lose. You knew it was going to be a bullpen game.
And I think, too, that was the first time Stubbs ever saw playoff action was Game 2 when he caught the last inning or whatever it was whenever they made all the changes. So the whole run last year, he never got a shot. And then the whole run this year outside of three outs. Yeah. But no, I didn't even think about that. And I don't want to keep sitting here and hammering on the NL just because we're NL guys, we're Philly fans, because the ALCS2 was interesting in and of itself with no home team winning. I don't want to call them antics by Garcia because he absolutely came up clutch. And then the drama with Abreu pegging him and getting a 2-game suspension, which didn't count in the playoffs. Did you hear about that one, Matt?
Yeah, because he appealed it.
I think I was going to say, like, if you want that suspension to be impactful, and you appealed it and you don't get it, MLB should have enforced it in the postseason. Like, what is it? Who cares about the first 2 games of next year?
Are we shocked though that the league doesn't punish Houston when it matters?
No.
You want to know who their first 2 games are next year? Ready? No, the Cubs. Their first 2 games are against the Cubs next year. No, wait, no, it's Texas. My bad. Well, I was looking at the wrong one. I was trying to figure out who.
During the intro, I said this earlier. I don't know if you caught it, but I'm so glad I don't have to differentiate between Texas and Houston anymore.
Oh, sorry. Houston plays the Yankees.
Ooh. Oh boy.
Yeah.
That'll be.
That's gonna have zero meaning for him being suspended. Honestly, the Yankees are garbage. I'll say it. They're bad. They suck. Just everybody get off the Yankee bandwagon. Yeah, they're gonna have another bad year because nobody wants to stick around there.
Judge does, and that's about it.
Is Boone still managing?
That's why. Yeah,
Yes.
For now.
They signed him to an extension just last year. I think it was like another 3 or 4 years, which he's not seeing the end of that one.
Most of their quote star players are getting old too. Stanton old, LeMahieu old,
Rizzo old.
Garrett Cole can't stay healthy.
Yeah, but he's still the best. Talk about guys who can't stay healthy is Rodon for them. Thank God. Thank God Philadelphia did not sign him.
Here's the thing, though. Here's my argument to that. There could be a difference in coaches or like coaching and medical staff as to why guys get hurt.
Oh, speaking of coaching, I didn't get to bring this up yet, but we shocked that Dusty Baker decided to retire.
No.
Nope. I think this was his plan the whole time. No, it was like whenever our season's over, I'm going to retire.
Yeah, I think
it happened to be. Yeah.
I thought we'd get a little bit more out of that because I was a little shocked, but not completely because you know how retirements go these days. Like Miguel Cabrera gets an entire year. Basically, Molina had an entire year. They didn't do anything for Wainwright, but I don't think he's coming back next year.
So here's my thing with the whole Dusty Baker retirement thing. Why it wasn't announced and made a big deal? Because that's never been Dusty Baker. From all the years I've ever remember him being a manager, he always tried to not put the spotlight on himself. I think that's what he wanted to avoid was, hey, you know what? This is about my team. This is not about me. Because look at the cover. We can all agree when Molina and Miggy and them retired, it was pretty cool. All the stuff that was given to them before games, the ovations they got from away team fans was awesome. Dusty Baker does not seem like the type of person who wanted that spotlight on him and make it let's focus on what these games are and less about me. So.
I get that, yeah. And I was going to say too, he's definitely one of those guys you want to. I'd have a drink with Dusty Baker. I have absolutely hated the Houston Astros for multiple reasons, at the cheating scandal and beating Philadelphia and all that. But I don't think anybody can say they hated Dusty Baker.
I'd love to sit down and talk to Dusty Baker about the whole like Barry Bonds thing.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be a good one.
What does he know?
Oh, he probably knows everything. And what the rotation was and what the cycle was and when he was a certain way and when he wasn't, juiced. I say that out loud. I'm sorry. Were there anything besides, the road teams winning in Game 7 that you guys seemed, noteworthy or surprising?
Yeah.
I know Montgomery went out and pitched lights out.
Adolis Garcia is a stud, and I would never want to pitch to him in clutch scenarios like that ever again in my life. Just saying. That dude was a freak.
No, I think what was it? The last time that a road team won every game, it was the 19 World Series with the Astros and the Nationals.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So it's kind of cool to see when that. I mean, it sucks for the home fans because you're pulling for your team, and then they went on the road and they lose at home. But
has anybody looked up what World Series tickets cost yet for the Diamondbacks? Because I'm curious. I wonder if they're as cheap as they were for the championship series.
I was just on ESPN's website, and they have a thing about tickets starting at, and I didn't really I wasn't watching because that close. So give me a second. Yeah. I'll tell you.
No, you're good.
Full schedule. Full schedule. Okay, so at Texas tomorrow, tickets as low as $439. Game 3 in Arizona, 525. So you got 525, 435, 468, 670, and 665.
High demand.
High demand, but also too, just like the cost of rent, the cost for a baseball ticket is too damn high.
These are probably all the resale market because they're in the hundreds of dollars when you buy them from the teams, but then prices
you
get jacked
two
up.
guys have experience with that. I mean, I haven't hit that at all.
So Mac, I'll tell you this. I was just talking to Tim on the phone earlier. I called him when I was doing some shopping, and so I have season tickets up for Penn State games, and we bought a season-long parking pass. We get a parking pass for every game. High bucks. If you had to guess, there's 7 home games. How much do you think for the every total for the whole year did we pay for a parking pass?
$100.
140. It was $20 a game. I have friends that are coming up for the Michigan game. I asked somebody to give me their or what the price was of a parking pass for the same lot that I'm in. They want to charge me $150 for one game. We paid $20 a game. So it is, nobody is buying these tickets because they want to go. They're trying to make $1 off of somebody, and that's all it is. It's not because there's a high demand. It's just people just are stupid. Like, they don't care.
Yeah, they'll just go.
I will say, and I won't say who it is, nobody that you guys know, but last year I knew somebody who got tickets to Game 5 of the World Series in the lower level and sold them for probably $5,000.
Well, so
yeah, that would, yeah, no, I believe that.
Dude, that Game 3 I went to. So that Game 3, when obviously Mac, like we got postponed to the next day. So I ended up back in the same lot that I was in, lot M, the best tailgate lot there is. Guy pulls in next to me and goes, "Yeah, if this game wasn't today, I wouldn't have came." He goes, "I'm on my way down the highway, and I just spent $4,000 a ticket, and I bought 4 tickets, and I used it as a business write-off." And I'm like, "Dude, we paid $400 total for 2 tickets. Like, what? What?" He's like, "Oh yeah, like it's a business write-off. I don't care." And I'm like, $4,000, mind you, he sat lower level, but I look at where my seats were, the tickets around me, somebody was selling them for $5,000. I'm like, I could have sold mine easily. We could have sold, but it was the experience to be able to go. Like,
exactly.
I don't get
same
it.
Same with the NLCS. You want to go for the experience. You don't always get an opportunity to go to playoff games. So as they come up, I take them.
You just had to jab me there a little bit.
So here's the
thing.
No,
Tim. You're gonna see a really good playoff game one day. I have a feeling.
Yeah, well, I missed my really good playoff game. I missed it back in 2010.
Here's my thing.
No, you'll get one.
Here's my thing, though. I think this was the problem with Philadelphia right now. It has been so long since the Phillies have been competitive. It's been so long since we've seen them in a consistent. Put your finger down. Just hold on a minute.
I have a game update.
Oh, yeah, it sucks. Anyways.
Well, it's 3-2, second, third, 2 outs with your boy Garcia up.
Yeah, he's going to strike out here. You watch. I'm just calling it how it is. But because the Phillies did not make it to the playoffs for over, 10 years or whatever, like the demand to go to the playoffs last year was high because you didn't know if they were going to go back. I noticed this year, now tickets were high, but they weren't as expensive as they were last year because, hey, guess what? We're back in the playoffs. I think if you start seeing the Phillies consistently back in the playoffs like they were in that stretch of 07, 08, 9, 10, and 11, you're going to see like what I just read off there, World Series tickets being $400 or $500 a ticket. Because the demand for them now isn't there because, hey, guess what? We've been here before. Now we've gone like numerous times. It's not as exciting as it was, to go to your first one. No offense, Tim. Like I'm not trying to rub it into you, but that's what it is. I don't know what you guys paid for your NLCS tickets. It's not my business. I don't care.
It was
$135 a ticket.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
last year,
very affordable.
but last year that ticket was $400 a ticket for standing room only, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Huge difference. Huge difference. So I think I think for us, if Philly makes it, he walked. So just as much, it's almost like getting a fucking strikeout. But I think
bases are jacked for Garver, who's been on fire. But yeah, sure.
But I think if the Phillies start making the playoffs a lot more, like it's going to cost you less than $200 a ticket to go see them in the playoffs again. And
I'll take that.
Yeah. I'm shocked that the Arizona tickets aren't a little bit more expensive because it's been years since both of these teams have been in the World Series. But
I think the fans are just starting to show up.
I agree,
because there's no way that in the championship series, like I thought that was a typo at first when you're getting tickets for under $15. Like there's like I almost want to see somebody's receipt because there's no way they could have been that cheap. Like they had to literally hand them out.
Look at the Braves tickets; they were cheap too.
No, I went and looked on Ticketmaster and SeatGeek, and sure enough, that's where they were. I don't know. For in Arizona. For the NLCS.
Arizona's, yeah. So they were still cheap on SeatGeek and StubHub and all them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was I looked at Ticketmaster and SeatGeek.
I looked like a half hour before.
Terrible resale.
I looked a half hour before first pitch of I forget which game in Arizona, and the tickets were like $4 a ticket.
Oh jeez. If only we lived out in Arizona, huh? I know we've stayed a lot of the NL side here. Let's turn it to, we've said what we've needed to say about Arizona. They're on fire. They came in, they did what they needed to do. They're currently leading right now, even though bases are loaded and Garver's facing a 3-1 count.
And Gallen's going to get pulled after this inning.
Yeah, Gallen.
This might be his last batter.
One thing I want to say about Zach Gallen is he's the guy in the group who does the bare minimum and still gets the A on the final report when he's going on. Did you see his tweets about, Philadelphia's next available tickets for spring training in 2024? It's like, congratulations, buddy. You lost to him twice.
And congratulations. He's pitching in the World Series and we aren't. So
he does get some bragging rights.
We'll see how much longer he's going to pitch. Yeah. We'll see how much longer he's going to pitch in the World Series.
Oh, that was nasty. So you said about switching gears and you want to talk about the American League.
I want to get to the Rangers a little bit.
Well, see, here's the thing about the Rangers, right? I don't want them to win. You know why? One guy and one guy only. Scherzer. I don't want Scherzer to get a ring.
What's your beef with Scherzer?
He was a Met.
I'd hate the Mets too. But so that would have been worst case scenario for you. That was worst case scenario for you no matter what, because you had Verlander and Scherzer. So one of them had to go.
Yeah, but Verlander was not a legit Met. He was there for.
Did he receive paychecks from the Mets?
Dude, how many games did he actually play in?
He got enough to earn a paycheck.
Okay.
Scherzer, I'll Google it right now.
Scherzer legitimately was like their stud, and he left because he knew shut up. He left because he knew he wasn't. He left because he knew he wasn't going to go anywhere.
Okay, so I have Verlander's Mets line. He was 6-5 with a 3.15 ERA.
Okay.
Over 94 1/3 innings. He gave up 77 hits and struck out 81.
So again,
he had a whip of 113.
I'm okay with Verlander being that he was a Met for a total of 11 games.
So he still received paychecks from the Mets.
Sorry, 16 games. My bad. He was with 16 games. Scherzer, on the other hand, that little greedy little. Never mind.
They signed the same contract, dude.
Hey, by the way, there's a little bit of breaking news here. Not trying to start like a war here, but the main shooting suspect was found dead. They found him. Finally.
So they found him and they put him down.
No, he was found dead.
Good.
Like legitimately, they found him.
Wow.
Already dead.
Oh,
trying to figure out where.
So he kind of took the coward's way out, is what you're saying.
I'm going to assume so.
Maybe.
I don't know. I just thought that was some news to share to everybody.
Welcome to Animal Planet.
I was gonna say where's Steve Irwin here? You have the crocodile come over my shoulder or something. Mac, do you have anything to add for the American League here as they tie it up 3-3? What did Garver walks? So yeah, Gallen can't be in much longer. He's throwing his 70th pitch just about. Is there anything for the Rangers? What's this?
Me?
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, definitely. Watching the ALCS and the Rangers, you see how explosive they are and how explosive they can be on offense, which is why I was telling you and I was telling other people, like, man, if the Phillies make it, they're probably gonna lose. Like, these guys are good. But and their starting pitching too has been pretty solid for the most part. To go in and win 4 games in Houston, obviously split up is huge. That can be a hostile environment for sure. Great ballpark. I'd love to see a game there. But
are we expect? I think this is going to be this is based off right now we're 3-3 ending the third, but I have a feeling this is going to be one of those high scoring. Let me pull it up here because we did get a message from Dan.
Let me throw some numbers here at you while you do that. So the Texas Rangers rank number 3 in all of MLB with runs scored per game. They rank number 2 in batting average, team batting average. They rank number 3 on on-base percentage. They rank number 3 in slugging percentage. They rank number 3 in OPS. They rank number 4 in OPS plus. So,
and I believe this is probably one of the first times since the beginning of the year they've had their full team healthy.
Yeah, and they rank middle of the pack in strikeouts. Arizona is the 4th lowest in strikeouts.
Well, I think Arizona also has like a negative run differential through the entire year too.
Texas is number 3 in home runs. So they're like offensively, they are the 3rd best team in baseball.
Going up against somebody who was at the exact opposite end, right?
Well,
or middle of the road.
If you go by runs given up per game, Arizona gave up 4.7 runs per game. Texas Rangers gave up 4.2. An ERA, Arizona was a 4.47. Texas was a 4.28.
Okay. So we got the stats. I did manage to pull this up. So one of our sponsors here, Raphael, at youcanbetthat.com, has got some odds up here for the World Series. We've got over 5.5 games, under 5.5 games, or over 6.5 or under 6.5. If you want to take the 5.5 over, you're looking at minus 165. Under 5.5, you're looking at plus 135. Mac, source Mac. I'll just keep doing that. If you got to take one of these bets, which one are you taking?
I'm going to be honest with you. I was reading more stats, so I really didn't hear what you said. Sorry. I'm sorry. I was reading something, and I'll let Mac answer it, and then I'll figure out. I'll go the opposite of what he says.
I don't know. I'm not really a betting man. I need to hear it one more time.
If so, you either have the bars at 5.5 or 6.5. So you're going to go over or under. Let's just go over under 5.5. Is the series going to go more than 5 games or less than 5 games?
More than 5.
I'm going to say it'll go 5. If it's 5.5, I think it could go 5.
All right. So
he's going under. So he's
taking the unders.
Under, yeah.
I'm taking the over.
Okay. So right now it's looking like the series is favored to go over 5.5 and possibly over 6.5. So this could be another 7 game.
So here is what I was looking up.
There's 3 different breakdowns, but go ahead.
Here's what I was looking up, and this is where the difference maker is going to be in this series when we're trying to make a decision on who is the better team between Arizona and Texas. If you go to team fielding, okay, when it comes to number of fielders used in the field itself, Texas has used 48 players, and Arizona has used 53. But the big thing here is when it comes to how many errors they've committed for the year. Arizona ranks number 1 in lowest amount of errors with 56. Texas is number 2 at 57. And they're both right neck and neck when it comes to double plays. So when it comes to the difference maker in this game, in this series, is going to be who has the best defense. I mean, we can sit here and talk about pitching, how good Texas's pitching is and how good Arizona's pitching is and how good the hitting is, but we're missing the big thing here. Texas has probably one of the best middle infields in baseball right now.
They do, and your boy Tommy Pham just went yard. So Arizona's now winning 4-3. So we'll I don't know, man. This which I don't mean to cut you off there, but the next thing I was going to say is how many runs total are going to score in this series, and the bar is either at 44.5 or 50.5.
We might exceed 44.5 in this first game at this rate. Possibly
could. Mac, what are you feeling? Do you thinking there's going to be over 50 runs or under 50 runs total for this series?
Over. If they're gonna, if they're gonna be scoring runs at a clip like they're scoring now in game 1, and we're still early in the game or midway through the game, I think we could have a high scoring series.
Here's how I'm looking.
Beating up on the aces too.
Yeah, but that's what I was gonna say. Here's what I'm looking at right now. So they talked about how good Eovaldi and Gallen are, but honestly, so I saw it mostly with our series. I don't want to bring up Arizona. This is just my point. I noticed it in our series. I did notice it a little bit in the Houston, Texas series that the number 3 and number 4 guys for everybody except for Philly seem to be the aces in their lineup in those respective games. Obviously, Wheeler and Nola were the studs for Philly, but that Brandon Pfaadt, he did not pitch like he was a rookie in the playoffs, number 3, number 4 guy in the rotation. He looked like he was their legit ace. He pitched a lot better than what Gallen did.
Mm-hmm.
And then you even go to on Texas's side, you get past Eovaldi and Scherzer.
And you've got Montgomery, and I don't even know who you'd have after that.
Montgomery pitched gems both times against Houston. So, I mean, I guess it helps for Texas, with their number 3, but being Montgomery, or if Scherzer's number 3, then it is what it is. But Texas has that middle infield that is just so good. Anybody that is pitching in front of those guys are just they're gonna have outstanding numbers.
I'll throw this one out here for you guys. Then, if you had to pick an X factor, Matt, you've been going on about the middle infield there. Mac, is there any kind of thing that you foresee possibly being a quote unquote X factor or unseen thing that could just pop up and determine something?
I mean, it could just come down to who outslugs who.
So the power
might be a little bit less of a possibility, but I don't know if I can beat Matt's middle infield thing. I don't know if I ever could have pulled that one out. So
no, you're good. I just thought of that when they're off the top of my head. So I spew things. Let's end it with here, guys.
Well, hold on. If you take out the middle infield for Texas, if you're going to talk about a difference maker on what's going to be the difference in the game is who shows up for who. So, for example, I've talked about it, Tommy Pham. Which Tommy Pham shows up for Arizona? Because Tommy Pham was hit or miss a lot for them. But I think, their biggest difference maker is going to be, for them, is going to be how well does Corbin Carroll show up in this series? And then vice versa for Texas is how well does like Marcus Semien show up, because he was pretty quiet for the most part in the ALCS, and he's 0 for right now in this game. I think.
Yeah, I was looking here too before game. He's hitting under 200 for the postseason so far.
Yeah, so right there's your two for how good their middle infield is, even with Semien at second base. My thing is like which of him and which of Corbin Carroll shows up. Like if either one of them gets hot bats, that's who wins the. That's your outright winner of the series. And honestly, I think that could be foreshadowing a possibility of a MVP choice if they get hot in the World Series.
There you go. Let's end it here. I don't want to keep you guys on too much longer. Who do you got winning and how many games?
Well, my heart says Arizona because they knocked the Phillies out. Realistically, I think Texas is probably going to end up winning in 7 games. It's again with them how good their defense is. I know pitching right now is a struggle in this first game for both, but like a clutch double play at any point in this game would runners on base that could potentially give you the lead. Like I think Texas in 7 is a safe bet, honestly. So I'll say Texas in 7.
Yeah, I know I said 5 games a little bit ago, but I do think this is Texas's year. They've been in the World Series a number of times and haven't won before. Texas Rangers in 6 games.
I want to go, and this isn't, and most of this is going to be because I'm still a biased fan. I want Rangers in 4, but I know the sweep's not going to happen. So I'll give Arizona 1 game, Rangers in 5.
So what I was to answer your thing, what I was shaking my head and mad about was Penn State hockey is actually pretty decent this year, except now they've lost 1 game to American International College, and now they just lost a game tonight to Alaska Anchorage.
So it's just a dive, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, it's
It's not good.
Nah.
We'll save that discussion for puck drops here, right?
No, I avoided talking about them last night for the sole purpose of I'm gonna keep it like family friendly and not say what I feel.
We'll leave it at that. I think that sums it up there. Any last words from you guys? One more thing you want to say about the year so far, World Series, losses, back. Let's. I know you had some things to say possibly. So final thoughts, anything you want to get off your chest for this failure of a Philadelphia season?
It's as disappointing as it was. I mean, you don't always make it to the NLCS. You don't always have sustained success. That's the toughest thing to do. Nobody's the Yankees from the 90s and the early 2000s. So it's a fun ride. I just hope that we continue to get, as Phillies fans, get to see our team have the success that they have for the next couple of years here, built around a core group of guys. Like I said before, winning is hard. Winning consistently is even harder. You could run into a hot team like the Arizona Diamondbacks or the Texas Rangers. And, the 2 teams people thought would get to the World Series did not make it. So, or at least 2 of the teams.
That's true there. Yeah,
so
I know I went on record saying World Series comes out of Philadelphia, Atlanta, but
yeah, a lot of people said that too. And whoever wins that series is going to win the World Series, but it was not to be. But yeah, just keep your head up, Phillies fans. It sucks now, but sustained success is hard to come by, and I have a feeling that that's where the Phillies are headed, at least for the next couple of years.
Source, final words?
My final words are advice. So I hope Dave Dombrowski tunes in sometime.
Dave, we'd love to have you on.
Get rid of Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
Sign Reese Hoskins. Let Harper play the outfield. Get rid of Nola. Get us another solid number 3-4 pitcher and a closer. And we're gonna be celebrating on Broad Street next year. They don't call me the source for nothing, Dave. They don't call me the source for nothing. I know. This is the answer. Instead of being the source, I should be called the answer because I am the answer to the problem.
Let's do this then. This will be my final word. If all of that happens and you predict the future a year from now, we're officially calling you the answer. You will be officially Matt the answer Trace, which isn't gonna. There we go. Which isn't gonna inflate any egos or anything.
No.
I'll just say this. I'm disappointed. I'm upset. I'm being very negative. I am a face of Negadelphia. But that's who I am. That's what I will be. And bet your ass I'm going to be ready for the ride next year. Our sponsors have been scrolling below. Make sure you check them out. Elite Performance, Checkered Life Customs, Fighter's Friend, Doc Sports Picks, mybookie.ag. Oh, you got
I used this last night. So this. Sorry to interrupt your regular scheduled program, but
bang.
Our friends are your friends. Make sure you check out all of our partners here, Elite Performance, Checkered Life Customs. You can bet that Doc Sports Picks, MyBookie, The Fighter's Friend, TheOne's Kitchen, NRB Sportswear, and Southern Combat Production.
I just have it on my notes. I didn't even know there was a graphic.
And here, Tim, I'll let you read this one. What else do we have on the network?
We've got the Dukes, Checkers and Wreckers, super kicking it with Steven and Greg. Greg now all of a sudden the Arizona fan that he is. State of Basketball, Combat Zone, here just a bit outside. And the Sources brand new show, The Puck, drops not there. It drops here on BW Sports 1.
Here, this network right there. Right
here, there, and everywhere. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Guys, thanks for jumping in here.
Thank you. Sorry about my cat.
No, you're good. We're a pet-friendly network here. On that note, later, y'all.